Hey everyone, figured we'd be bringing you along today. We are doing cuttings on dahlias. It's a beautiful day in the greenhouse. It always is because it's heated. So we got beautiful grass. I actually have a ton of helpers today. You can't see them, but there are things crawling all over my feet. Let me grab one and show you. You just got a hint of what's crawling around. Here we go. This little guy actually was just sleeping. So he's like, what's going on? Why you lift me up? So we got 9 little golden retriever puppies over here, and they are loving the greenhouse. Their first time in the grass right now. They're 4.5 weeks old. Look at this little guy. This is not why I did the video, but I mean, how could you not put him on? You know, look at that. Little booty. All right, let's talk about dahlias. So we're doing dahlia cuttings. We removed our tubers in the fall after a frost. We stored them appropriately in the basement. We took them out, we cut off each of the fingers when we found an eye. Look for an eye on the actual trunk. You cut that portion off as long as it's connected to a healthy neck like this, right? So you've got an eye, you've got a healthy neck, and then you've got a tuber that's not all smashed and rotted. Then we started potting them up. We left them partially out so we could see what the eye would do. And then now what we're doing is, instead of just making one plant out of this, we're gonna make this into 12 plants, more or less. There might be more or less. That was redundant. So what we do is, when you take a cutting, right, it starts growing, you're gonna cut it off and you're gonna root it. However, the question is, where do you cut it? There's 2 schools of thought. One of them is you cut it with a portion of the tuber. It'll root really well. That's great. You basically remove the entire eye. The negative is you're not going to get any more out of that eye because the eye's gone. The other option would be, what if you just cut close to the eye? If you did that, the eye stays intact-ish. It stays alive at least. It's viable, and then it starts putting out a lot of growth around it. And suddenly, instead of getting 1 cutting, you're going to get 4, 8, 16 as they continue to grow. So here's one example where we took off a cutting really close to the eye, but we left the eye intact, and now look at that. You got 6 more you could take as they continue to grow out. Here's another one. We'll cut it nice and close, and yeah, we have other eyes up here, which are great, but look at that. We got another 2 or 3 coming out of it, maybe a 4th one coming out below. So we suggest get as close as you can, but leave the eye on there, you know, at least mostly. So we're gonna do that today. So we've got our sharp blade. We actually use rooting hormone here because it does increase the odds, even if by slightly. I like to have the odds increased. We also have a Clorox wipe, which we've used in between every single dahlia, just in case there's a disease. You've cleaned the blade thoroughly so it doesn't spread to all the other ones. And we've got a tray that we're putting them in. So once it's cut off, we're gonna make a little hole in our wetted potting soil. We just homemade this ourselves. We're gonna put the cutting in there, close it, put a tag on, wait 2 to 3 weeks for the roots to grow. Once it's rooted, great. You pot it up and you got a whole bunch more. So let's do one together. So this one's one of my favorite. This is like a neon pink single petal flower. So it's open faced. A lot of the bees love it. We're gonna get really close to the eye, but we're not gonna cut the eye off. And we'll just do right about here. Great. So, you know, I actually could have gone a little bit closer, but I was doing it one-handed, so I'm a little proud of myself for just successfully cutting with one hand. Now we're going to take this, and we have leaves on the bottom that we don't need, so we're actually going to take all of these leaves off. Now the good thing here is everywhere where there was a leaf access, that's cells in the plant that are still trying to decide what they're going to do with life. Some of them are going to become branches, some of them are going to become fruit in some plants, not these. Some will become flowers. So we want to use that to our advantage. So we're going to make sure that all of those areas where the leaf had come off the stem are under the soil. So we're going to keep 2 leaves on top. Not much, because that's where the water will evaporate out of the plant. As it sucks up the water underneath, it evaporates out the leaves. The more leaves you have, the more evaporates, the faster it dries out. So we'll keep 2 on the top. And look at all those nice leaf accesses that are removed. And these are where the roots will come out of. So now we're gonna take this, we're gonna dip it in our rooting hormone. Never dip it straight into the bottle or you'll
could infect the entire bottle if one of these is infected, and then every single thing for the next 3 months you do after that is infected. So instead I'll put it into a little baggie where when I'm all done with this little batch, then I'll throw it away and start a fresh one next time. So now it's got some rooting hormone on there. We'll take that, put it into the mix. We'll bury it all the way up to the leaves here. So that whole root's underneath. This is nice and moist. From here, we're gonna take this, we're gonna put our tag in there to remember what it is, which I have to make one more. And then we're gonna put this on a heat mat. We're gonna set the heat mat to 70, and we're gonna put a humidity dome on it. 2 to 3 weeks, you got yourself roots. Hope that's helpful. Thank you guys for joining me. Let's have a little puppy say goodbye to you. All right. See you guys later. Happy gardening.